Now from the Weather Tracker TV Storm Studios, this is your weather today. Here's Chief Meteorologist William Cole.
All right, folks, here we go now on this finally Friday. Of course, all eyes on the weekend. Everyone wondering what is the weekend forecast going to be. We're going to talk about that in detail. I don't think you're going to be very surprised. A couple hints. It's going to be hot. It's going to be sunny. But again, details on that coming up. Of course, a lot of folks are ready for a little fall-like weather. Are we locking into any weather pattern changes? Are we maybe even locking into some rain chances on down the road? All the newest data just came in this morning. Want to get you caught up on those details here over the next few minutes. But as we go through the day, like I mentioned, this is really just a steady as she goes forecast. More in the way of bright sunshine and temperatures above normal today. We'll be right up around 91 here in the Metroplex. Could be a few fair weather clouds. You may notice that at least as we will go through the afternoon, providing a little bit of shade. This is where we started the morning. These were your morning lows, and again, at least the one glimmer of kind of good news, if you will, even though we've had these really hot afternoons because the air mass has been so dry, the morning lows have been quite comfortable. You can see most of us in the 60s this morning. The only real exception, the Metroplex, kind of the concrete jungle, right, doesn't necessarily cool as easy. And again, you can see some 70s locally in the Metroplex. In fact, Dallas Love Field only down to 71 this morning. So radar locally, we're completely quiet, right? Nothing going on. But there is something interesting going on here. Look out in the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, down around the New Orleans area, there's a very weak area of low pressure down there, and it's kind of bubbling up and churning up, if you will, some scattered showers and thunderstorms. There is a mini flux of moisture coming up with that, and that's why today, again, the one thing you may notice as we go through the day, as opposed to just bright sunshine, maybe a few puffy fair weather cumulus clouds, and again, it actually has to do with that. We had been watching that for maybe an opportunity of a couple showers, maybe as we get into the early part of next week, but again, the way it looks right now, not necessarily a player for us, but what is going to be a player for us, and again, we've been talking about this as well as we've gone through this work week, it is this big upper level storm trough. Now, it directly is not necessarily going to impact our weather, but there's a secondary piece of this storm system, right? It's going to come out as we go through the weekend, but on the back side of it, by the middle part of next week, talking about next Wednesday, there's going to be a frontal boundary. It appears as though a very weak frontal boundary, but just enough to kind of edge down our temperatures, and it may even give us an opportunity of some scattered showers and thunderstorms, not completely locked in, but at least it's looking a little more promising, right? So here we go, going in motion all the way through the weekend. Here comes storm one. Again, it stays too far off to the north, doesn't really do anything for us, but it's this backside. Take a look at this here. You can see one more lobe of energy comes through, and that will, again, push another kind of weak frontal boundary down into the area. And again, you can see the model trying to depict at least an opportunity of some scattered showers around as we get into the middle part of next week. But then this is new data here as we go through the end of next week. This tries to build the ridge, or what's left of the summer heat dome, back in, and it's trying to really push our temperatures back up. So let's necessarily hope that ending there doesn't necessarily happen. So here we go, future rainfall again just over the next 7 days. Again, compared to yesterday, again, the model looking a little more promising. Again, by the middle part of next week, trying to at least get some precipitation in here. Otherwise, as we go through the day today, there it is. Again, you can see just a few, again, fair weather clouds kind of coming up there from the Gulf. It'll be a similar story tomorrow, again, as we apply some daytime heating. But again, otherwise around the region, we're basically dry, we're basically quiet. And there may be just a touch more in the way of humidity. Notice that right there, even though we've been, relatively dry humidity-wise the last few days heading into the weekend. Not that we're going to get oppressively humid, but you may notice just a little bit more in the way of humidity out there. And again, you can see even our humidity trend begins to go up, and by Tuesday, Wednesday, the fact that it says humid, that's good. Should be enough humidity around with that boundary, if it is able to make it in, to possibly, again, get a few showers and thunderstorms to go. So low mid-90s today. We do have another air quality alert, unfortunately, in effect, unhealthy, rather, air quality as we go through the day, specifically ozone buildups. And again, you can see as we go through the evening, there we go, easing back through the 80s. Friday evening looks very warm but quiet. And then overnight, all of us basically back down into the 60s. Heading into the weekend, there it is, all of us right up around 90 for our Saturday. So again, overall a hot but quiet weekend, looking good, and there are those low-end rain and storm probabilities by next week. But notice those temperatures, we try and check those down with that weak cold front.